All right. Hey, welcome everyone to Control Alt Achieve Live for November 28th, 2022. Thank you so much for joining me live or watching this or listening to this as a recording at a later time. As usual, all of the resources for tonight can be found at bit.ly slash CAA dash live. That's going to open up a Google document. And if you scroll on down to page 2 of that document, you will see the EdTech links of the week that we're going to be taking a look at tonight. We've got 5 from around the web and 2 from me that I will be diving into here with you guys tonight. So again, take a moment if you don't have that brought up yet, bit.ly slash CAA dash live. Seeing some folks saying hi already in the chat. Thanks so much for those that are here. I see Peggy George here for another great show. I'm so happy to have you here as well. And hey, Jessica Adams saying hi from Georgia. Wonderful. Thanks so much. And Peggy is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. So that is fantastic. Thanks so much for being here. Well, while you guys are taking a moment to bring up that resource document, quick introduction. So hi, my name is Eric Kurtz. I'm an EdTech coach in Northeast Ohio, and I run the website controlaltachieve.com, where I share all of my resources, and I encourage you to check out that site if you haven't. Links to that, as well as other ways to contact me, are all at the top of the document. There's a link out to Control Alt Achieve that'll get you out to the blog, so you can dive in and take a look at that. And then below there, if you need to email me or connect on Twitter or YouTube, all of those links are there. Also, I do have a link if you have not had a chance yet to join the Control Alt Achieve email discussion group. My goodness, there are so many great discussions going on there. People are sharing such wonderful resources, asking questions, getting help. So go ahead and follow that link that's there for the Control Alt Achieve email discussion group. Also, there's a link to sign up for my weekly email newsletter. I just sent the newsletter out this week. This morning. So I try to do it usually Monday mornings. That one just went out. It's a nice, easy way to get everything all wrapped up in one place and stay in the loop on things as well. And there's a few other links there as well for my Control Alt Achieve book, the GEG Ohio group, and my PD catalog if you're interested in having me come to speak at your school or conference. So a lot of good stuff up there at the top, and would encourage you to explore some of those links to connect with me. Having said that, though, I want to connect with you guys. And so please do leave feedback throughout this session. There's a lot of ways to do that. One is in the chat. We already have a lot of people doing that. I'm seeing popping up in the chat here. People saying hi, saying where they're from. We've got Carol Kelly saying, thank you so much for offering this live meet. That is great. And Lynn Marie from Canada. Hey, we've gone international. So thank you, Lynn Marie, for saying hello as well. That is great. So that is one way to communicate. Please feel free to, in the chat, throw in any questions or comments you have. I'll do my best to keep an eye on those on my other screen here. Other ways you can communicate is in this document itself. So I did turn on commenting rights. So if you want to, highlight something and then add a comment over on the side, you're absolutely allowed to do that. That's perfectly fine. No problem there. And then another way is I do have a Google form set up. So if you'd rather submit something that way, there's a Google form that is linked in here. And this Google form will allow you to put in a question, a comment, a suggestion, whatever the case. And it's totally optional to include your name or your email. So you can just do this, without including that. Or if you want to include that, that is fine as well. Just want to have all of those options available. So, whatever works best for you, you can take advantage of. So excellent. All right. Well, hopefully that gave everybody time to get settled in and get the resource document pulled up. Again, that is bit.ly slash CAA-live. All right, well, let's go ahead and scroll on down to the second page of that resource document, where we're always going to find our EdTech links for this week. Now, keep in mind, if you go down further, you'll see the links for the previous weeks, and including the links to the blog post and the recorded video for those. You can always catch up on previous ones as well. Tonight, though, we do have We have 5 links from around the web, and then 2 that I have pulled up that I have created myself over this last week. So why don't we start by the things that I've come across around the web. So these are things that, whether maybe, I don't know, I was reading a blog post, or I was on Twitter, or I was on Mastodon, or I was on a podcast, or watching a YouTube video, whatever the case was. A lot of stuff has come through some of the email groups, like the Control Alt Achieve group, getting a lot of great resources from there. So here's some things I've come across in the last week. And these are the 5 that I wanted to share with you guys here tonight. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started with our first one. So the first resource is GlotDojo. And for this one, and I imagine it might be pronounced differently, maybe GlotDojo, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. So apologies if that is not the correct pronunciation. But what we're looking at here is a Chrome extension that is a translation extension. They say, well, Eric, there's a lot of translation extensions out there already. Do we really need another translation extension? And I totally know what you mean. I mean, I typically would recommend Google Translate. That'd be the first one that would come to mind. It's a wonderful extension. You can highlight anything, and then it'll go ahead and it will, translate that into another language for you. Also, if you need to translate like videos, like YouTube has built-in translation. It's just part of it. I've shared that in other sessions. Tell you what, let me go ahead and I'll turn off my camera here so we can see this a little bit better. And I'm going to turn off the banner too. That way I'm not covering up any of this. That's probably a better idea if we do that. How about that? That's a good idea. All right, excellent. But this brings something different to the table. So what this extension does is a couple of things that I have not seen in other tools. So I thought, you know what, this is worth getting out there for our folks who work with English language learners, for example. One of the things it does is it allows for multiple language translations in captions at the same time. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over another tab. So here is, I've got this pulled up on my other screen here just to save time. So here is a YouTube video from Crash Course. Love them. They're fantastic. They're amazing. I'm going to keep it muted though, so that it doesn't make any noise here while I'm doing this, but we can still show the idea behind this. And so I've got this Crash Course video that I pulled up here. And what I'm going to do is start playing it. And as I'm playing it, of course, I've got the captions turned on at the bottom here. So you're seeing the traditional normal captions here. Well, let's say that I wanted to translate the captions. Well, we all probably know that you can do that. You can go into the settings and you can go into the subtitles, and you can say, I want to switch this into a different language, like German, for example, and it translates that. That's fantastic. That's wonderful. Love that. Wonderful. Great. Good stuff. But what if you needed more than one language at a time? What if you were presenting to a classroom where there maybe was English language learners, but it wasn't just one language that was their primary language. Maybe you had some folks who spoke Spanish and some that spoke German and some that spoke French, or whatever the case might be. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this GlotDojo or GlotDojo extension. So I have turned it on now. I do have that installed on this account, and I've just turned it on. If I come here to this extension now, you'll see that I have an option not just for one set of subtitles, not just for 2 sets of subtitles, but for 3 sets of subtitles. So I can turn on upper subtitles, I can turn on lower subtitles, and I can turn on what they call quick translation. And so I may have to turn this off and back on though to get it to show all of those. Hold on, let me turn it back on. Sometimes it helps to turn things off and back on. We have learned that a couple of times. Looks like I might have to reselect here. Give it a second. Oh, nope, still not showing that here. Let's switch to a different language. There we go. Sometimes it just helps if you unselect and reselect. But there you go. I now have chosen upper subtitles in Japanese, lower subtitles in French, and for quick translation, I think, what do I have for, let me go into my, I think it's German if I go into my settings here. Yes, it's German. And so there we go. We now are showing 3 different subtitled translations all at one time. So I've not seen that in other tools before, the ability to have 3 going on at once there. So again, I think this would be really neat if this was a class where We had students that were, they were not English speakers primarily, but it was a mixture where some of them spoke, like I said, Spanish, and some spoke French, and some spoke Italian, or whatever the case might be. Being able to show these multiple translations in the subtitles all at once, I think is a really, really neat feature. So that's awesome. All right. So that's one thing that I thought was cool about it. The other thing it does is it allows you to click on any word and not just get a translation of that word, and not just get a definition and a pronunciation of the word. We've seen that. A lot of extensions do that. It also will show images of that word. So for example, if I didn't know what the word pristine was, and I were to select the word pristine, when I click on the little extension, I'll get the pronunciation of it. I'll get the translation of it. All that's great, but I also get an image button. If I click that, it pulls up images that are related to the word pristine. Now, always some, potential dangers there when you're pulling up images. It's very possible you could bring up something that doesn't really relate, or it's something that is another meaning of the word. I've not come across anything that I would consider, inappropriate, but I don't want to, I obviously have only clicked on a few examples there as well. So let's try another. Let's try glacier. Let's grab the word glacier. Go to image. And hopefully, yes, we're getting pictures of glaciers. So anyway, just wanted to get that on your radar as an extension that I thought when it comes to translation, it offered enough extra features that I haven't seen before that I thought, you know what? This is worth getting out there and worth sharing. I'm seeing a couple of comments come in on this. Lynn Marie was saying, thank you for the French translation. Now, Lynn Marie, I feel so bad. I took 4 years of French when I was in high school, but this was back in the 80s. And so French, I definitely have a love for French, but I'm so afraid that I have forgotten so much of it. And I love doing the New York Times crossword puzzle. And they have so many clues where French is part of it. And they just had one the other day. Spoiler alert, if somebody is working on the Sunday puzzle, you can skip over this. They were asking for basically what summer was in French, but they worded it, of course, coyly, as they always do in the puzzle. They said something like summer on the Riviera, which means, summer in French. And I could not remember it. And then suddenly, like out of nowhere, it comes to me, I was like, oh, it's ETE, and I was able to, put that in. And so my French does come back every now and then, but hopefully I will continue to improve that as I play more of the puzzles. Let's see what else we have here. So we're seeing Jessica says, so cool. I have both translation tools presentation and a YouTube presentation that she gives, and she's going to add this extension to that. That is great. I think that is a great idea. Awesome. Very, very good. All right. Well, let's keep on moving. That was our first one that we're going to take a look at. The second that we're going to take a look at here is called Felt. And this is a tool for creating maps. So we'll go ahead and pop this open here real quick and take a look at this one. So Felt is a tool that allows you to create a map, and it is free. There is no cost to this. This is a totally free tool. And it allows you to create maps. You say, well, once again, Eric, we've got tools like this. We've got Google My Maps, which is a wonderful way to be able to create a map. So why would we need something like this? Well, again, it goes a lot further than that and adds a lot more features that we wouldn't necessarily get in something like just Google My Maps. So probably the easiest way to show this is, again, I'm going to pull another tab over here. So I'm already signed in to Felt. I just signed in with my Google account. And so this is my Felt main screen here. Now, I did not create all of these. I didn't create any of these. Actually, these are like examples that they provide with it. But I think the easiest way to learn is they have this tutorial that they provide. And I went through it with the original one, but then I made a copy of it. And I figured, let me just pull up this tutorial here. And if we run through that, you'll get the main gist really quick about how Felt works. So basically, this will walk us through the main steps of how this would go. Now, you can, of course, create a map from scratch. This one has already been pre-created. Then it's going to walk us through some of the key points of some of these tools that we have. Again, totally free tool. So first of all, we're going to zoom in down here. And through these 10 steps, we're going to learn about using felt. So first of all, some basics. It does tell us about how we can zoom in and out, which I'm doing with my mouse wheel. And then you can also just click and drag to move around as well. Clicking on something selects it, escaping unselects it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start with the first tip they want us to do, which is that we can add pins to our map. So the pin tool looks like that, and they're showing what the tool looks like. And they're asking us to drop a pin on the zoo. So I could click on the pin tool, and now I get crosshairs, and anywhere I click, I can drop a pin. So I'm going to do that, boop, right on the Central Park Zoo. And now I could add a name if I wanted to. So we'll just type in zoo, and there we go. We have added in the zoo to that spot there. And of course, we can add more things to that particular location. There's details if we want to add those in as well. But let's keep on moving. Let's go ahead and move up to number 2, which is creating routes. It says you can do a route by clicking the route button. That's the one that looks like the little arrow here. And it will automatically snap to roads and paths, and you can draw a path. So they want us to draw a path from the start to the end around the lake here. So let's try that. Let's click on the walking path. Let's make sure we're on walking. So I chose walking rather than driving or bicycling or flying. So I'm going to click here to start. And then as I move, it is making a path. And then I come here to end and I click again and boop, there we go. It has created that, and I will turn off the path. There we go. And there it has added in that walking path for us automatically. Excellent. Number 3, the marker tool. That's the next one here. This allows us to draw right on the map. So in this case, I could choose green because there's a turtle, and I can color in his shell. And so anything that we want to write or draw or sketch out, we can do that very easily on top of our map here. And my turtle won't be completely filled in, but that's okay. That'll be good enough for what we're doing here. Let's move on to number 4. 4 is about clipping. That's the scissors tool. And this allows you to turn shapes from the map into editable polygons. So for example, if I do the clipping tool and I click on the Metropolitan Museum of Art, it actually pulls it out now as a shape. And I can now, that shape would be editable. If I wanted to move it around, if I wanted to change the vertex points, it clips out, it pulls out a copy of that particular building. Let's keep on going to this next one, which I think is my favorite part of the whole thing, and that is their layers. So they have a layer library, and you can click on this layers button here, and you can pull from any of the layers that they've got available there. They say there's a layer in here about squirrels in Central Park, and so they want us to add the squirrels in Central Park layer. So I'm going to click on the layers button, and you'll see we've got featured layers, we've got boundaries with things like congressional districts and counties and census blocks and time zones and states. But we've got climate with drought and flood hazards and on down the line. We've got infrastructure, bicycle lanes, libraries, hospitals, and clinics. Well, if I get down to nature and exploration, sure enough, there's one called Central Park Squirrels. And so I'm going to click on that one. It's going to add it in. And now you'll see that layer has been added on top of these. And these are squirrel sightings, I guess. Places squirrels really like to hang out in Central Park. Very good. Let's move on to number 6. This is the polygon tool. This allows you to draw a polygon. So they say, let's reserve a tennis court here. So we'll grab the polygon tool and we'll say, let's grab this one. Boop, 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 and boop. There we go. Okay, so there's our polygon. Excellent. Let's keep on moving. The next thing is the text note. So you can click on either text or on the notes, the little sticky note, and you can leave text or notes on the map. So if I do text, I could say meet here. And then if I did the sticky note, I could click that as well and add a sticky note here. Here is the spot. Awesome. Excellent. There we go. And so that's an easy way to add text onto there. And then it looks like we're about to the end. So next up is media. So the media button, there's not an actual media button now. It's actually done as a link button. And any link you put in there, it can resolve that. So if you put in like a YouTube link, it'll turn it into a playable video. So like if I grab the one from earlier, the one that we were looking at with Crash Course, if I go ahead and drop that in, it's going to put that playable video right there into the map. I'll just have to move it out of the way here. Click on it and drag it. I'm having a hard time clicking and dragging today. I'm not sure why.
Plants.
Nope, don't want to start playing. There it is. Okay. I was just having a hard time clicking and dragging, but there you go. So you can, whatever media or links you want to put in, it will resolve those links. And that's about it. The last thing is sharing. And so we can share this with others so that they can have access to this as well. And you've got a lot of the normal ways, sharing it so people could view on the web, or to allow public editing, or to invite people specifically to be able to work on it with you. And that's it. So it's a really neat tool. So that's Felt. It's free. And I'm really excited to think of all the ways we could use this in a classroom with students being able to create these maps and show their understanding. I would encourage you on the Felt site to check out their blog, felt.com/blog. They do share a lot of really neat blogs with a bunch of sample maps. It's a good way to see ideas on how this can be used in a lot of clever ways. All right, good stuff. Peggy said that's a great step-by-step tutorial for Felt. That's easy to follow. I agree. It really helped me when I first started using it, just to go through their tutorial. Jessica's saying she cannot wait to play around with Felt. It looks incredible. And I agree with you. I'm really impressed by what it does. So awesome. Good stuff. Okay, let's keep on going. Next up. All right. Next up, we have ClipChamp. Okay, so what's this all about? So ClipChamp is another video editing tool. You may remember just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't last week, was it? Let me see. Was it 2 weeks ago? Let's see. Yes, 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about LumaFusion, which works on Chromebooks, and that it's out in beta now. This time we're looking at ClipChamp, which again works on Chromebooks. So now this works on pretty much anything. It's web-based, same as the LumaFusion tool. This is a web-based video editor. So it's going to work on a Mac. It's going to work on a PC. It's going to work on a Chromebook though. And I'm always looking for options for video on a Chromebook, video editing on a Chromebook. And I got to tell you, I am really super impressed with ClipChamp. This one has really caught my eye. It was shared to me by Jeremy Battinger, and he did a blog post recently about this. I will include a link to his blog post when I put my blog post up with all of these each week after this is done. I have a blog post that has all of these in there, plus some more details. I'll include Jeremy's link to his tutorial. So that's what got it on my radar. When Jeremy shares something, I know, hey, this is a valuable thing. And so I went ahead and took a look at it, and oh my gosh, it's free, first of all. Now there is a paid version, but I just used the free version, and it was very full featured for being free. So just in the free version alone, you've got unlimited exports. So there's no limit. You can do as many as you want, as many videos as you want, as many exports as you want. There's no cap on that. You can export up to 1080p. So like high definition. They've got free audio, image, and video stock footage. They've got free filters and effects. You can import from Google Drive, from Google Photos, from your own local storage. You can record with the camera or do screen recording. And it works on Chromebooks and Macs and PCs, of course. So I'm like, wow. And so I went ahead and tried this out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up onto my screen here. And so I'm going to use my Chrome remote desktop like I've done sometimes before. So sitting beside me, I have my Chromebook. So I'm going to pull my Chrome, because I want to prove that this actually works on a Chromebook. I could do this definitely here on my Windows device, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to share my screen. I know you can't see anything at the moment. It's taking me just a moment to type in the code. I am sharing my screen from my Chromebook, and then I'm going to pull my Chromebook over onto the screen so you guys can see what this looks like. So I'm connecting to my Chromebook and I'm sharing the Chromebook. And there we go. Okay, now here it comes. There we go. So here's Chrome Remote Desktop, and this is actually my Chromebook. So over here is ClipChamp, and this is my Chromebook. If I click down here, you can see that's the Chrome launcher. If I come down here to the time, that's my Chrome system menu. So this is my Chromebook just through Chrome Remote Desktop. So you can see this is really running on a Chromebook. And everything I'm going to show you is completely free. All right. So, I was doing the same video that I did when we did this the other week. So when I did the LumaFusion one, I took some pictures and videos from my trip to Maine from back at the end of summer. And so I said, well, let me just do the exact same one. Let's recreate that inside of ClipChamp and see, is it just as easy to do it in there? And so I did it twice. I was first playing with it, then I did another version of it. So I'm going to open up the most recent version of it. And so here it is. This is ClipChamp. And I'm going to run you right down through the different tools here on the side so you can see how this works. But it is super easy, but also very powerful. I really am impressed how they've been able to balance ease of use with full features. So to start off with, the first thing is your media tab over here. And so with media, this is everything I had pulled in for this particular video. So that's my pictures of Maine and my videos from Maine. Now, you can also narrow it down by just video, audio, and images, or just see all of it. But this is also where you can import stuff. So you can grab files from your local computer, from your phone, from OneDrive, from Google Drive, from Google Photos. I did not have a lot of success pulling from Google Drive. It seems like it just spun a whole lot. So I'm not sure if I was doing something wrong or if I had a bad connection or if that's something they're still working on. That would make it really nice. So just heads up, I did not, when I did Google Drive, but you can see it just kind of did this. It just kind of went spinny, spinny, spinny for a long time. And I was not able to get it to play nicely, but Google Photos, it did. So not totally sure about that. So most of the stuff I just downloaded to the Chromebook's memory, and I just used browse files to pull in my different files that I wanted here. Having said that, it is owned by Microsoft, so maybe, no, I'm sure they're not doing anything to cause Google Drive not to work properly. So let's say I come in here and I grab one of my videos. I've already got them in here, but just to show you how easy this is, I can grab a video, drag it over and drop it onto the timeline. Once it's on the timeline, I can shrink it or expand it. If I click on the video, I can now come up here and continue to edit this. For example, I can adjust the audio of the video. I can fade the video in and out. There's filters, and there's also clip speed. I can change the speed of the video. All of that is super easy to do right from there. Next down, we've got the record and create. So here's where you can record your camera or your screen and your camera. And that's what I did here, where I was just doing this quick introduction saying, hey, this is Eric. Here's my video about my trip to Maine. So that's so nice that you can record right from your Chromebook. Next down are some templates. If you want to have some pre-made templates to drop your videos into, they're already kind of pre-formatted for you. There's a music and sound effects section if you want to use any of their free. Now notice anything with a diamond on it, that would cost, but anything else is free music. You can search through there. With music, I did actually add some music. I think I ended up using, which one did I end up using? I ended up using Good Days. That was the one I ended up using. And so I just took that and I dragged and dropped it down here. And so, oh, and by the way, I did drop out the audio in my video clip. So this clip of the rushing water and the clip up here at the top of the mountain, these had audio behind them. And so in each case, I just went and I clicked on the little speaker here and I just muted the audio. So so the song would play in the background without the audio from those clips. Then there's a stock video section. That's where I got this stock video of the sun setting or rising, I'm not sure which one it was, over some water there. I thought that was very pretty. I grabbed that from their stock video. There's stock images you can search through and add those in as well. Then, of course, text. You can add all sorts of text to here. I did that a couple places, like I added, my Maine trip. Nothing too fancy there, but there's all the different, you can, choose the font and the size and the color. You can fade it in and out, and you can add filters to that as well. Then there's graphics. There's a bunch of graphics you can pull from. And again, some of them cost, but a bunch of them are free. And I just used everything free. For this one, I added in this the graphic of an arrow to point out the whale tail that we saw when we were out on the boat. And so I wanted to point that out. And then lastly, there's transitions. There's tons of transitions here. You just drag and drop them in between any two clips or pictures or whatever. And I just mostly used Oh, I use the crossfade. I mostly just use the crossfade to go from one thing to the other. And that's it. As simple as that. I made this, and then you go to export, and you can export it all the way up to 1080p. You could do lower qualities if you want. And then I'm going to try something new that I've never tried in StreamYard. I'm going to try to play the video for you. So I've got it pulled up into a different tab or whatever you call it here in StreamYard. So let's see if it works. I'm going to click on it, and I may not play the whole video, but let's see if it comes through. Let's try it out. Hey, here's a short video on my trip to Maine. All right, and that is it. All right, we'll get this back up there. There we go. And that's it. Yeah, it was as simple as that. Peggy said she loved the video. She's really impressed with how simple it was. Yes, it really was. It was that simple to put that together. As far as, will this, again, I see a lot of discussion in the chat about things being free and then maybe later they're not free. And, that could be true about any of the tools that we're looking at here. This one, though, is owned by Microsoft. So I have a pretty good feeling that this portion of it, what we're seeing here, there's no reason why that wouldn't stay free. Now I understand having a paid version that has additional features, but hopefully this would stay free. Now, the one caveat I'll give you is the things that you don't get in the paid version, if you're using the free, like I'm using, it would be a cost anything with a little star next to it. You say, or the little diamond. You're saying, well, that's no big deal. I can live without some of these fancy transitions. I can live without some of the fancy, stock video things, because there's a lot of great websites out there for stock video, for stock images, for stock music, loads of great ones out there for that. The biggest thing that I say you gotta watch out for is this one right here. Do you see how it has a cloud with an X through it, a line through it? And there's a little upgrade icon next to it. What that means is everything I'm doing, it's being saved locally to my computer. It's not getting synced up to the cloud. Now, the biggest problem with that is that means, number one, you have to be at the same computer while you're working on this. So if students are using Chromebooks and they're just swapping the Chromebooks out each time and grabbing a different Chromebook, and hey, it's Tuesday, I don't know which Chromebook I'm getting today, I'm grabbing whatever one's available. That wouldn't work. You would need something where it's all being saved in the cloud so that you just log in and your stuff is there. But if you're doing a one-to-one program where every student has their own Chromebook and they use the same Chromebook throughout the year, that's okay, because that's what it's doing. On my Chromebook right now, on my Chromebook, everything is being saved locally to the internal memory of that Chromebook. So that is a paid feature to have it sync up to their cloud. So good thing to know that as a possible limitation. But again, as long as you're working on the same device, no worries. So anyway, just wanted to get that one out to you guys. I was really, really impressed with what it offered. Let me see if there's anything else popping up here. Let's see. Beth said, wow, beautiful. Well, thanks, Beth. That's great. Carol says she likes how many features this program has. Her students would really enjoy it. I agree. That is absolutely true. Jessica says, I'm always amazed at what tools are out there and what they can do. What an awesome time to be an educator. You're right. It really is awesome. All right. Peggy says, can you keep going back to edit the video? Absolutely. absolutely. Just like I did tonight, I didn't really make any changes to the video tonight, but absolutely. I could go back in and add more things, take things out. I could, go to the home page here. And from the home page in here, I could have made a copy of it, which what I did here, but I could just click and say, hey, I want to make a copy of this. That's fine. But then once I get in it, I can always, make changes and then just re-export it and have a new MP4 video. Beth says, does it save progress and then add to it later? Yes, it is constantly saving any changes that you're making. There's not a save button. You're not going to hit save. Anytime you make a change, it is saving that progress as you go. Yes, absolutely. All right, there you go. Well, again, I hope that was helpful to show you a little bit about ClipChamp. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to move a few things around. Give me just a moment. Got to slide the Chromebook out of the way there. And I think I'm done with the Chromebook, but I'm going to just move that off to the side in case we do need to come back to that later. I will have it available for us there. All right, good stuff. All right, let's keep on going. All right, next up, our next tool we're going to take a look at is called Yippity. All right, so what is Yippity? So Yippity is an artificial intelligence tool. And the idea behind this is it could be used as a study guide, a study aid, a study tool. Here's the idea. What you do, let's say you've got an article that you need to read. Let's say there's a website. You need to read the article on that site. Well, you've got an article that's been shared to you in a Google Doc, whatever the case might be. You have your notes, you've got your content that you need to be mastering. Well, what you can do is you can come to Yippity, and if it is a website, you can put the link directly in here. If it's a bunch of text, you can copy and paste the text into here instead. And then what it does is the AI goes through it and then it generates a set of questions for you. So basically you can quiz yourself, and it's got the questions and the answers. So for example, let's say we're going to keep this really simple here. Let's say I have this web page about a biography of George Washington. Okay, so this is nothing fancy here. We're keeping this real simple, just grabbing this as an example. So I'm going to copy that link. And then let me go ahead and I'll move that out of the way there. There we go. And I'm going to paste that link in. Now, it does take it a little bit of time if you do the link approach. If you just paste the text directly in, then it goes ahead and just it processes it right away. See, it took a little bit longer there, but basically the idea is it has read through that article now, and now there's like 10 questions. And so what I can do is I can click on the little eyeball button to reveal the answer to each one of these. So if I have read the content, I can now quiz myself. I can go, okay, what is George Washington most known for? So I would try to come up with what my answer is, and then I hit the eyeball button, and then here it is. He's most known for leading the Continental Army in victory over the British in the American Revolution and being the first president of the United States. And on down through here. What was his job before the Revolution? Well, if I don't know, I think about it, but hopefully I would know from reading that. But I could clearly say, oh, he was a surveyor. What was his job after the Revolution? He became leader of the Virginia militia and became involved in the start of the French and Indian War. How did he die? Okay, he died of a throat infection, and on down the line. Now, I've only tried this on a couple of websites, but it's done a pretty decent job. There's a couple of times that I've seen it, ask the same question twice, or the answer was very simplistic. But I think this would be something to investigate, to say, I would not see this as maybe the teacher using this. This is for student use. Now, yes, you could say, well, this is creating a quiz, but, the questions, are probably something that you as a teacher, if you were to read through the article, you could certainly create, questions as good as this or better. I would see this more of a matter of a student being able to do self-assessment. That's a really powerful thing to give our students that ability to say, listen, if you want to quiz yourself, here's one way to do that. Either copy and paste the text in or put the link in. And then after you've read it, go through here, read the questions, try to answer them yourself, and then click on the eyeball button and see how close were you to that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. A couple of things are popping up here. Peggy said, can it convert your handwritten notes or scan pages from a textbook? No, it does need this to be either plain text or a link to the actual article itself. So this needs to be a website address, or you need to just literally copy and paste the text into here. So if I had a Google document that had, the text, I could just select it, copy, paste, put it in here, and then go ahead and let it run. So interesting to see. This is another one of those forays. We're going to see something else here in just a second with artificial intelligence that I think is really impressive as well. But I think this is really neat to see artificial intelligence being able to start bringing some of this value to the classroom, in this case, empowering students to do self-assessments. So thought I would get that out for folks. Take a look at, try Yippity, take it for a spin and see what you think. All right. Oh, and looks like we were told that it works in French also. So that's great. I'm glad to know that. That's wonderful. All right. And so the last of the around the web, before we get into the things I have created over this last week, is Magic Eraser. Now, this is not a new one, but it came up in this last week and a half. So I was on Twitter and somebody posted a question and they said, hey, what was that tool that could remove something from an image? They knew they had heard about it, but they couldn't remember what it was. So it was probably a good, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so, this became really well known. The idea that, oh my goodness, we now have tools that can remove something from an image. This was not the tool that initially got a lot of attention. There's been at least 2 other ones, but that's the way it is with AI. Once there's an AI model to be able to do this, then other people start using that model and making changes to it and improving on it and expanding on it. Well, this is one of those tools. Magic Eraser is one of these tools that you give it an image, and then you can say, I want to remove something from the image. And what it does is basically takes that out and draws in what should be there so that it looks like that was never there. Now, you could use this for a lot of things. It could be an interesting game for students to be able to say, okay, here's 2 pictures. Can you spot the differences? I remember when I was a kid and I would read that the highlights for kids magazine when I was, waiting to get my teeth checked or whatever the case might be. And there'd always be those pictures with, okay, here's 2 pictures. Find out what's different between these. Now, I would love to hear from you guys how else you might think you could use a tool like this. Now, certainly could also just be used for your own productivity. You may have an image that literally has something in there. Why is that in there? I went to take this picture and I didn't want this extra item in the image that got in the way, and I would like to be able to take that out. I know many phones are including this as just part of, just built into the photo app on your phone to be able to remove things as well. Nevertheless, here's an option that can be done right here on the web. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a picture that I've got here. And the one I'm going to use, I'll show you the picture first. This is the picture here. Okay, so that's the picture. I just went on Pixabay. Pixabay is one of my favorite sites for free images. Pixabay has free images, free sound effects, free music, free video clips. Pixabay, love it. Great place to get a lot of this content. So I found this picture here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload it into Magic Eraser. And now once I've done that, here's my image. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start erasing things from the image, and then I could download the new version each time I do that. Now, heads up, the free version does limit you to the size of the download, not how many. You can make 1 million changes and download 1 million different pictures, but it does keep it pretty low res. I think it's like 600 by 400. They offer to let you download the higher res for a price. So yes, of course, there's a free version and a paid version. The reason I suggested this one, though, it did the best job I found of being able to really understand what things should look like if something was removed. I thought it really got that much better than a lot of the other ones. So for example, let's say I want to get rid of this item here. So I'll come up here. I'll also cover the shadow. We'll do the shadow as well. So we can get rid of the shadow. We don't need the shadow showing up in there as well. And now I'll just hit erase. And boop, it's gone. And so it's not there anymore. And so now I can download that. Or I could come over here and say, oh, let's get rid of this piece of Lego over here. So again, we'll get everything, including the shadow, and we'll hit erase, and it's just gone. I mean, I still get really excited about it because it's like, it's so cool when it does this, and we'll do one more. We'll get rid of the S here in friends. So we'll come down here. And again, I'll try to get some of the shadow so it doesn't leave that behind. And we'll erase. Boop, it's gone. And that's it. Now, so again, this is not the only one that does that. But if you just want something quick, free, easy, and I think honestly really effective, like it's good. I've tried out some of these and they've gotten really confused when you go to delete something and they don't really leave. I've uploaded other images here that had things on top of things. And when I would get rid of them, it did a really good job. I don't know if I can find a good example quick enough here. Let me see. Here's one with a bunch of tools. So if I were to come in here and say, we really should take this knife out of this picture or something, if I come in here and I grab this knife and I say erase, it's amazing how well it understands like what should be behind it. I just was really impressed with it. So pretty cool stuff. I'm seeing people popping up in the chat mentioning Snapseed. Yes, I love Snapseed. That's another great one. So thanks for mentioning that, Lynn Marie. And then Kyle says, love the resources. Thanks for sharing, Eric. You bet. So happy to. That is great. It is it is great for taking things out of images. So that is fantastic. You're right, Peggy. It's unbelievable. It does not erase what's behind it. It does use AI to figure that out. So there you go. Again, this is just one of these tools. There's other ones that do this, but for one that's free, that's quick, that's easy, and is effective, I'm really happy with what Magic Eraser does. All right. Well, that gets us to the end of the Around the Web thing. So those are the things I came across in the last week around the web. To wrap up here, let's talk about the things I've created in the last week. So these are my 2 EdTech links of the week from Control-Alt-Achieve. So the first one is another AI one, and this is using Canva's AI text-to-image tool. So I do have a blog post linked in here that has all of the gory details. So there is a video that I go through and show all the steps involved in this. And then I've got, directions here as well that go through and show you every step along the way, what you need to do here. But I think the best thing to do is just to pull it up for real here tonight and do it live. I think that's probably the better way to show you this. So I'm going to grab my other account and bring that over. So this is my work account that I've got my free Canva for Education account on. Now, this works both with Canva, the personal Canva account, and a Canva for Education account. This particular text-to-image tool works on both of those. But I am using my education account because I have access to all of the other tools inside of that, which I do have links in the blog post. If you don't have a Canva account yet, please sign up for one. If you're an educator, there's an easy way to get upgraded to the free education account where you get access to everything as well. All right, so here's the idea. Let's say I'm a student and I have written a story and I want to share my story with the world. Wonderful. We absolutely want our kids to do that. We want them to get excited about writing, and we want them to share what they've written with the world. Well, what if they want to make like an ebook where they have their poem, their story, whatever, and they want to include some illustrations with it? Now, folks, there's a lot of options for illustrations. They could go to a site like Pixabay, like we said. They could do a Google image search. They could draw it themselves. Of course they could. But what if they created a really fantastic story and they can't find pictures that match it because their imagination has gone beyond what they can find on a Google image search. Well, this is where this new tool comes in. So what I've got is I've got a poem that I wrote that I used as my example because I thought this would be a pretty good one because it's a pretty fantastic poem as far as like fantastical is what I mean by that. So this is a poem called The Third Cow. I like to write children's poetry for my grandkids. So this was one of those poems. And this is a poem where I'm talking about this cow who's rainbow colored. So it talks about, the first cow was brown, the second cow was black, the third cow had rainbows all along her back. And throughout this poem, we keep finding out about this crazy rainbow cow. The first cow chewed grass, the second cow had grain, the third cow ate truffles with a glass of champagne. And on it goes through this talking about this third cow. So this is rainbow cow that drinks champagne, that likes to yodel, that's giant, and so it's all of these things that are there's not clip art for that. Let's just put it that way. There's probably not clip art that's going to have a rainbow yodeling cow. I'm not going to find that. So here's the way this works. What you do is in Canva now, over here on the far left, you see here's all my tools. There's a text to image tool. Now, to pull that up again in the actual blog post, I have all the links there for you. There is an initial link you need to click to bring that up. It's canva.me/text-to-image. So that's the initial link. I'll just copy that and put that into the chat if that's helpful to anybody there. So that's the initial link, and that will allow you to opt into using this new tool. And once you've done that, you now have the text to image button here. So here's the idea. Anything you type in this box, it will not find an image, it will make an image. It's not doing an image search to find it. It's actually creating the image for you. So this is so awesome. Students could have custom illustrations for their stories right from this tool, which I think is just amazing. So I'm going to put in some samples here, but I would love if you guys want to think of something cool that you want me to type in, throw it in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. What do you want me to have it make an image for? So think about that, put it in. But let's say I wanted to do something like a rainbow colored cow that is standing in a field. All right. Now, I can now come down here and pick my style. Do I want it to be a photo, a drawing, 3D, a painting, a pattern, concept art? I might just go with painting. That might fit like a kid's book look. So I'll click Generate Image. And what it's going to do now is it's going to try to come up with pictures of a rainbow colored cow that is standing in a field. And I'll get 4 example images. And if I don't like those, I can run it again. But from these 4, I can click on one or all of them. I can add all 4 of them if I want to. And there we go. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. That's wonderful. So I can click on this if I want. And there it is. Here I have a rainbow colored cow standing in the field. Now some of them put a rainbow in the field with a regular cow. So that's not good. And this one over here is pretty good too. But if I'm like, okay, that's pretty close, but let's try it again. I could hit start again and I could just run it again. And I could do this as many times as I need to get the images that I like. Now, heads up, I shouldn't say as many times. There is a limit. And I think the limit's around, I'm guessing because I didn't pay close enough attention, it felt like about 20 conversion, about 20 generations. So I was able to put in a new phrase and hit generate image, I think about 20 times. It felt like 20 to 25 times. And then it pops up this little thing that says, sorry, you've used up your quota for the day. And that's just because this is very processor intensive. It takes a lot of processing power from Amazon, or excuse me, from Canva servers to be able to do this. So at the moment, at least, they do have a limit on how often you can do it. Maybe that's just temporary. We'll see. We did get a suggestion. Jessica said she wanted to see hedgehogs at a birthday party. All right. So let's do hedgehogs at a birthday party. And we'll just do surprise me for the style, because who knows? We'll just see what that comes up with there. If anybody else has a suggestion, if there's something you'd like to see, speak now, throw it in there. I would love to include that in there if you'd like to see what it creates. It does take it a little bit of time to create that. Now, when I did it, I ended up saving most of the pictures. Oh, here they come. Okay. So it did a pattern for one. Now this one's pretty cute. It's got it's got a here, we'll just add no, that doesn't fit here. We'll add it in. It did like a little Sonic hedgehog and a regular hedgehog, and he's at a birthday party. He's got a little hat on. That's fantastic. Now I could choose, the type of the style. Like this, it did patterns. Like I could say, well, I don't want patterns. I want actual images. So I could do start again and say, let's not do surprise me this time. Let's do paintings or something like that. And I could run that again. And now I wouldn't get like the patterns. I would just get hopefully just paintings. Let me see. Beth is suggesting happy children dancing in the rain. Sure, let's see that once it comes back from the new hedgehog version here. There we go. So I don't know. I think we did better the first time around. Let's try though. Happy children dancing in the rain. Oops. I think I spelled it right. I just hit the caps on there. And for this, we'll do photos. I don't know. What do you want? Photos, drawings, maybe a drawing. We'll see what a drawing looks like with it. So, and there you go. That's the idea. So here's what I'm thinking with this. First of all, anything our students write, they can now get custom illustrations for those things. So think about how excited they're going to be able to share their poem, their story, knowing they're going to get, here we go, look at that, look at these. Oh, those are awesome. I know they don't go along with this, but look at these. Let's just drop these in here. That looks so great. And again, it didn't find these pictures. It created these pictures. It made these pictures out of nothing. They are created. So isn't that so wonderful to have these ready to go right away? I think I really like that one. That one really, I think, captures it really well. But nevertheless, so number one, this is exciting for our kids because they can have custom illustrated images when they now share this out to the world, because there's a lot of ways you could share this out. You could share this out as a Canva presentation. You could download the images and put them in a slideshow. You could use Book Creator, and in Book Creator, you could pull this in, which is what I ended up doing. Book Creator does a Canva integration, and so you can make a Book Creator book out of this. But number two, I could see it being a full circle cycle. It could also be a student putting in some key things they're interested in, letting it generate the images, and then letting the images inspire their writing. So now they put in an image and they write about it. And so the images are also helping them write. Just so cool. Really, really neat. Peggy does ask, is there a limit on the length of the text or the number of the words? Not that I have seen, but what I have found is I had to practice a lot to try to come up with. I put in some first drafts of my sentences, and I don't think it always understood what I was saying. So what I have found is keep the grammar simple and very direct. Don't get fancy in the structure of the sentence. Keep the grammar very simple, but be as creative as you want with the content. Try to be very, noun, verb, adjective, noun kind of stuff. Keep it straightforward with that. Don't get fancy in your sentence construction, but do get very creative in what you choose. Back in the blog post, let me bring the blog post back up. I included some pictures that they had shown as examples. So they had things like a photo of a magical forest city from the future, or a panda riding a bike, or heart balloons over the Himalayas, or a firefox in a forest standing up. And so those were some of the examples that they had shared. And again, like I said, I did then go out to Book Creator. And so on Book Creator, you can, here, I'll log in to Book Creator here. There we go. And so here's my third cow poem that I created in Book Creator there, because in Book Creator, if you go into the edit mode, you can go up to the plus and go to more, and you can add apps. And Canva is one of the apps. And once you add apps, there's tons of apps you can add, Bitmoji and lots of things in there. But once you add in an app, you can then pull from it. And so I was able to create the entire poem or the entire book right there inside of Book Creator, using that integration between the two of them. And of course, I put all the links to those. If you really want to check it out, all the links are in the blog post. I've got my Canva presentation, my Google presentation version, and my Book Creator version of the third cow. That's all there. So, so that was the first thing that I shared this week that I wanted to get out to you guys. Beth says it's scary because that's how she imagined it. Canva has read your mind. That's awesome. Fantastic. Good stuff. Okay, so then let's get to the last thing. So the final thing to share for this week, and that is the 12 days of Chrome mess. So yes, I haven't done one of these in a while. I think it's been since 2017. It's like 5 years ago since I did one of these 12 days of something. I have not done that in quite a while, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it this year. So I do have coming up starting early in December, the 12 days of Chrome mess, where one time per day, once a day, I'm going to share out a tip, a trick, a lesser known feature, a helpful idea related to Google's Chrome web browser. So this is going to be all about Chrome, hence the 12 days of Chrome mess. And so what I've got here is a blog post to introduce you to the idea. What's going to happen is starting early in December. I believe I'm going to start December 5th. These dates are subject to change. I decided 4 days per week is what I thought I would do to get a total of 12 days, but I may move those around. So just heads up. I may make some adjustments based upon what my schedule looks like, but I will do all 12 of those throughout December. And what's going to happen is you can come back to this blog post, and there's a link here to the interactive image. If you click on that, it'll open up that, and these will become clickable. So like whatever the dates end up being, if I do change them, you'll know because it'll say what the date is. But as of, for example, if December 5th really is the first day I start with this will become clickable on December 5th. And then if December 6th is the next one, it'll become clickable. So you'll be able to click on these images and it will take you to that particular blog post. But you can also just come back to Control-Alt-Achieve because I'm going to be putting them on there as blog posts as well. Now, if you don't want to forget about this stuff, you could always join our Control-Alt-Achieve email discussion group because I'll be posting each day that I release something. Hey, there's a new one up, or my free weekly newsletter, which will tell you, hey, last week, here's the new ones I put up. That's a great way to stay in the loop on it. So be looking forward to that. I'm excited to share a bunch of Chrome tips and tricks and neat ideas with that. Of course, I'm going to learn from you guys too. So please be sharing with me what you think are some awesome Chrome tips and tricks. Even along the way, I would be happy to incorporate your ideas in this as we go. Besides that, I did also include in this blog post other holiday and winter related activities and resources. I've got a bunch I've done in the past. Here's a link to my googly wintertime activities, from build a snowman to holiday greeting cards to pixel art ornaments to emoji rebus stories to all kinds of stuff. Loads and loads and loads of ones that I've created over the years that I've got linked in. And then other people were really kind to reach out and let me know of ones they had. So this is an ongoing list. I'll continue to add to it. These are from folks all around who shared, hey, here's one I do, here's one I do, here's one I do. Oh my gosh, there's so much professional development and activities here. So many amazing ideas to take advantage of as we're heading into the holiday season. So wanted to get all of that out to you guys as well. All right, a couple of things popping up as we're starting to wrap up. Beth did ask, is Book Creator free? And Lynn said, yes, Book Creator is free. And yes, and I don't know, I know there is a subscription one. Yeah, Jackie's saying there is a subscription option with more bells and whistles. I'm just using the free one, but it's awesome. It's really great. Jessica's excited for Chrome mess. I am too. And so you've got the 12 days of tech mess starting on December 1st. And Jessica, I hope I have yours linked in. If I don't, please send it to me and I'll get it linked in there as well. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. And Jessica, that's great. I'm glad this was a super event and you're pumped to learn more and share with your teachers. I am so glad this has been valuable for you guys. And Peggy, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up here. As a reminder, this is something I plan to do every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I think that would be like December 5th, I think would be our next one. I will, of course, update this document. Always come back to bit.ly/CAA-live. I have started to add this also to my blog. So if you go to my blog, you'll see an EdTech links button at the top, and that is also going to have the same information there as well. So here's the information to get to the live stream as well. So EdTech links is now a button on my blog, which will get you right to that document as well. And I will cross post the resources here. So if it's easier to go to the web page than the document, I'll have it there as well. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so very much for taking time out. Again, whether you watch live or you watch the recording or listen to us as a podcast later, whatever the case is, thank you so much for being with me here tonight. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to learn with me. Please continue to share resources with me, because that's how I learn new things. So many things I'm sharing with you guys, I'm sharing because of the generosity of others. People like Jeremy, who told me about ClipChamp, and other people who have shared these throughout the last week. I appreciate that so very much. So without further ado, thanks again so much, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I look forward to learning with you again next time. Take care, everybody.